Hail there, legal warriors. I got asked a question in my practice last week. Someone was an alleged victim of domestic violence, and they asked me, Lance, how come the courts don't listen to me? How come the courts don't listen, in their opinion, to victims of domestic violence? Well, if you're interested in what I have to say about that or this area of the law, stay tuned. This is the video for you. My name is Attorney Lance Fryrear. I'm a defense attorney in Linwood, Washington. My law firm's been defending people charged with crimes all throughout Washington state for more than 20 years, and I'm putting out these videos to help educate the public. So if you find this useful, please like and please subscribe. More people get the help they need. Now, as always, I'm just going to jump right into it. We get calls from all types of people in the office. We get hundreds of calls a month, probably 300 or 400 calls a month, and a good number of them could be alleged victims of domestic violence, trying to get some help. And sometimes someone is trying to make sure that the defendant gets treated harshly, but more often than not, I get a phone call from someone who's really frustrated with the court system. And they want to know, how come the court won't listen to them? And I think that's a fair complaint that an alleged victim of domestic violence often has. And let's just go through a hypothetical. The most common hypothetical is a loved one, someone related to the victim of domestic violence, gets arrested for doing something wrong. And it could be a big wrong. It could be on the lesser side. Anything is serious, but there's, of course, different levels of everything that happens in the world. And that person gets arrested, and now the court issues a no contact order saying that the defendant can't go home, the defendant may not be able to have contact with the kids or help with the child care. Lots of things get done without any input, oftentimes, from this person calling me on the phone, right? This alleged victim going, I never wanted the no contact order. What do I do about it, Lance? My domestic violence advocate isn't calling me back, or they're not listening to me. And again, things change over time. Usually when it's early on, the alleged victim wants input right now, but the system hasn't caught up to the case because everybody's human. So again, in this hypothetical, now the alleged victim goes to court and tells the court, hey, I don't want the no contact order, and the court just says, too bad, it's going to stay in place. So why doesn't the court listen from the victim's point of view in this hypothetical? Well, the main reason, I think, is everybody is self-interested. The court has a judge sitting in, and the judge's job is to, be a referee, between the prosecution and the defense, but also make some decisions to help uphold law and order, to protect the public, and even to protect alleged victims, because the state or the city, the government is charging someone with harming the alleged victim. So from the court's point of view, there's not much in it for them, whoever the judicial officer is, to drop a no contact order. Because if they drop a no contact order too soon and something bad happens to the victim, not only is that bad for the world, bad for society, it's also bad for them, right? It's a bad look. The court will feel bad. The court can get criticized. If there's an elected position, it can be used against them. Prosecutors can start to affidavit the court if they're making decisions the prosecutor doesn't like and remove the judge from cases. I've seen that happen. Hopefully, a good prosecutor doesn't start to use that as a weapon, but it does happen. I can think of a few cities where that's happened. And so the main reason why, from the victim's perspective, the court doesn't listen is because the court has a differing interest than that victim who's wanting the no contact order dropped in this hypothetical. They want some time to pass. Something bad happened where someone got arrested. It makes some sense to have a cooling off period. And it's really frustrating for the person that doesn't want that order protecting them, because it's usually a really big inconvenience to their life. I'm often getting calls from that victim who's at home with children, and maybe that person is the one who works, and the person who's the defendant is the one who normally takes care of the kids. Now they can't, because they can't be at home. And then we don't want to have the kids go live in a hotel, right? And so now we've got economic problems because the breadwinner, victim in this hypothetical, may not be able to go to work anymore because there's no one to take care of the kids. And so, so we hear it's like, why won't the court listen? Well, we have to be able to know how to talk to the court to get them to listen. So, what's another reason why the court doesn't listen to victims of domestic violence? I think the second reason that I see is that sometimes the alleged victim doesn't frame the issue, get it in front of the court in the right way. Some courts require that the person who wants to talk to the court, the alleged victim, they have to file something ahead of time. They have to file a request to lift a no contact order. They have to file something in a timely manner requesting a court hearing. I've seen plenty of courts where a victim just shows up and they say, I'm sorry, counsel, that hasn't been noted. We're not going to hear it today. And then the victim doesn't even get to speak, right? They don't get to say anything and they walk away and they feel totally disenfranchised, right? They feel like they have no agency over their own life. And I think that's a fair criticism that an alleged victim has when the court, who on their own issued an order that affected their life, that this hypothetical they didn't want, that the court doesn't even want to listen to them unless they follow rules they have no way of knowing about, right? They're not lawyers. And oftentimes those rules aren't even written down at all, or if they are, they're certainly not in a place where that victim's going to find it. So another reason why a court doesn't listen is the court has a rule that the victim doesn't follow to even get an audience with the court. I think that's a second reason. I think the third reason why courts don't listen is sometimes an alleged victim just doesn't speak to the court in the right way. They might speak disrespectfully. They might say things that make them sound like they need protection, right? Focusing on love and affection versus safety plans and I can take care of myself and, thank you, but I don't need this because I'm not afraid. And so I think they often can also get certain advice from victims advocates that may not be helpful for them, right? And that's just sometimes what I see. My opinion, when I'm trying to help someone in this case, if I'm trying to help an alleged victim get rid of an order or get something done by the court where the judge has the final say, we're in the same position as the victim if we're representing a victim. We don't have any power either, right? We can just say, this is what we would like, please. And it's totally up to the court because the court has a hard job. They're balancing the wishes of this person versus their parental function of, hey, I'm going to make decisions for this person because I think I know better than them, because I have more experience. This might be the first time a person's in that situation. So I don't envy judges. I don't envy courts in this situation. It's one of the hardest things they do, balancing the harm that the order creates versus the harm that it's meant to protect from. And I think that we need more, investigation often into these decisions than the small amount of time a court has. Again, I don't envy judges. So what are some ways the court might listen more? Well, if the defendant's done something, if the defendant's done some classes to make them a better risk for the court to drop an order, so it's less likely to happen. I think the court's more likely to listen if the victim has an advocate that's skilled, an attorney that's skilled and knows what the court's looking for, so they can make an easier decision for the court. And also, I think if an alleged victim is more prepared, has done a safety plan, has really articulated how this order is harming them in their life and why it may be doing more harm than the good the court thinks it's doing and protecting them from harm from the defendant. So those are the reasons that I often tell people. Hopefully this can remove some frustration if you're in that situation. And, there's the other situations too, where a victim wants really bad things to happen to the defendant and the court doesn't do it. No one's generally, not everybody's thrilled when we're dealing with these, hotly, emotional and very important legal issues. So that's why criminal court is a serious thing. So if you found this video useful, hope you like and subscribe. More people get to see it. More importantly, if you have a criminal problem in Washington State, feel free to reach out to my firm. We'll listen to what happened. We'll identify a way forward, and we will be there for you. Thank you.